Yep.
All rise.
We'll call the meeting to order
Already got one.
of the June 4th Agricultural Commission. The first order of business is to review the minutes of May 7th. It's actually Landfear,
Yes.
if you want to do
spell it
this,
wrong.
but I think there's no N, there's an N instead of an
Yeah,
N.
L-A-N.
And then it's
P-H.
E-A-R, right?
Uh-huh.
L-A-N,
P-H-E-A-R.
yeah, I've been spelling it wrong forever.
That's okay, there is a few Lampfears in town, too, which has an I in it, which confuses me, too. And then the following officers were selected for, if you take the 0 out between the 2 and the 6, we won't have to live 1,000 years or
Oh.
19,000 years, however many that is. It's a lot.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
That needs-
I've been having a problem with that.
You know what happens after you retire?
I know. For sure.
It's also Kate Nadeau,
NATO?
NATO. Good French person, N-A-D-E-A-U.
E-A-U, yes. Do, 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 do. I got an email from her today.
Well, I will fix those.
Okay.
So if you want to make a motion.
With those amendments, I make a motion, we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
All in favor? So moved, unless Lori says no.
I'm gonna fix them.
All right. Let's talk about the Lampson Brook Farm discussion. I don't believe, so Tammy gave us a little bit of a background history at last month's meeting, and there was a Lampson Brook Farm Board meeting the following night that I don't think any of us attended except for Tammy. Tammy did not give me an update, and I wasn't able to review the minutes in time before this meeting. Lori suggested perhaps we have another meeting between now and September 7th or 4th or whatever the first Wednesday in September is, because I was going to continue I was going to suggest we continue what we've done the last couple of years, which is to take July and August off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's open to discussion.
As far as another meeting to talk about what happened at the
At the
Lampson
Lampson
Brook.
Brook Board.
Is that a recorded meeting? Was it here?
It's recorded, no, it was online, the state holds it, but it was on Zoom,
On Zoom.
yes.
So we don't have records of that
No,
here or in our computer to watch it or anything like that, right?
No, I mean, I could.
Oh,
try
you
and look
maybe
at
go
it.
to the
That's
state,
okay.
what's it, site?
Does anybody remember the date? Oh, the date of the last meeting was May 7th, so it was
Yeah.
May 8th.
May 8th?
This says, meeting minutes from May 7th.
So the Lampson Brook.
No, I haven't heard
meeting
any.
was the next day.
Buddy, talk about it.
Well, my thinking was that if anybody else would, but I'll review the minutes, and by email I can put on a note. If it feels like there was substance that is happening at the meeting, and we should discuss it, then I would suggest that we have a short meeting. And I don't know if anybody would prefer to do it before July 1st, so we really have 2 months off. I don't know if people feel like they're so busy that they don't want to, or if you just plan to wait till July 8th, maybe? What's the first? I think July 1st is a Thursday.
First is, when, second, July 2nd is the first Wednesday.
Oh, it is, okay.
I'm not available.
Laura, you are not available, is that?
No, I'm
Is
gonna be at the Big E.
is it a dog show or is it an all-ag show?
It's a dog show,
Oh.
5 days.
I like dogs, but I
Woof.
won't see you there.
No.
I don't know.
No.
If it was a general farm show or
Yeah.
or sheep show, I'd go.
Well, we could maybe leave it open to do it on the 9th if you feel that there's
Yeah, if anybody else,
discussion.
you know,
I'm
feels like
out. We have a cow show starting on the 12th through the 19th, so I'll be gone that time
in June.
in July.
Yeah, I would prefer to do it earlier,
Yeah.
like in 2 weeks or the first week in July or something. I can circulate for a date for a Wednesday
Yeah, like the 2nd or the
if
9th.
anybody else feels like they want to read it and that they also have an opinion on it, you can send out an email.
Okay.
I think if you forward the email to me and then I'll send it to everybody, then as long as nobody replies all,
Yeah.
then it's not a violation of the open meeting.
Oh, I see, really?
Yeah, they said that's one of the things you can do. I can send out information to everybody, but then we can't reply back, or I'm not supposed to like say, hey, Tom, do you want to have a meeting? I would have to say, hey, everybody do
Oh, I
this.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the Lampson Farm Board update
At this time,
at
yes.
this time. So then, I don't think I have any follow-up. I just wanted everybody's opinion if they had any thoughts after Kate. There was her willingness to bring up an article. I feel like any article that they write about the Ag Commission, I feel like we have 2 articles about the Ag Commission in the next 6 months. One would be in the fall to start talking about our winter event. And I think one could also be at a time about Lampson Brook, when we feel that that would be helpful. I don't think we should put out an article without being prepared for knowing what's happening with Lampson Brook Farm Board and knowing how we'd like to see energy put to it and what we can do to go ahead and do that.
I did receive an email from Kate,
You did?
yes,
Okay.
about, well, I had sent her an email asking about the updating of commission members on the town's website.
Oh, good.
Okay, so she said that was on her to-do list, and this was before town meeting, and I see that that's been fixed at this point.
It has?
Yes.
Okay.
And she said, regarding the email address we talked about for the committee, I will need a list of everyone's email address that would like access to this. Once I have that, we can get that taken care of for you. I reached out to Lori about the Facebook page,
No, she didn't.
but the email bounced back to me.
It was probably USDA. Okay.
The email bounced back to me. Can you have her email me?
Yes. Do you-
Okay.
Just, if you forward that to me, Tom, and then I can.
Okay. I'm also still working on details for writing the article with Tammy that we spoke about last month, hoping to touch base with her in the next month on this.
Okay, so, does anybody mind if I have phone numbers, if I prepare a contact list of all the members for us? I don't think I'll give it to Kate with the phone numbers on it.
That's my email address, Tom.
Okay.
If you could just forward it to me, I'll touch base with you.
Yep. I don't mind.
So,
I'm in so many lists.
Yeah,
I-
mine's pretty public, it's fine.
I mean, do you guys, I occasionally think it would be helpful, I don't know if you guys do, but I find it helpful occasionally to either text or call somebody. I think I
getting
have
that.
everybody's except for Lori.
Oh.
And not that I don't think I've asked you for it, or maybe you put it in one when I was trying to do something, but I didn't save it. I know I did that with Tyler twice, I didn't save his phone number. But I'll do that just for the committee, and then I will forward her a list. Did you forward? You didn't forward her a list of the emails. So
No,
that's the
no.
question. So my question to her is, and I guess I'll contact her. There is one email box for agcommission@belchertown.com. There's one email address.
Okay, yeah.
Do we want it going to everybody? And I don't have any issue with it. Like if an email comes in, like once a month I get something that says, are you aware of this? Or a farmer called and they don't know where to go. Do you think anybody on the Ag Commission can help? And then, or there'll be a conference or, the farm board is having something or
Yeah. Right.
So I would either say let's have it go to everybody or let's have it go to one person. So whatever your
The only thing is, if it goes to everyone and someone responds to, we need a way of knowing if someone responds, cause we don't wanna, and then, if it's an email asking about something and they get an email from all of us, I mean,
Okay.
that's kinda over.
Well, let me verify from Kate that it's not gonna be individual addresses for everybody.
All right, yeah.
I think it's just one.
Unless she was gonna make one for clerk and one for vice chair and one for associate and one for,
Is this smile.com?
Sea breeze.
Huh?
Oh, Gmail.
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 Sorry.
And then I will also tell Kate that certainly the committee would like to be involved after she's collected data. If she's gonna get some information from Tammy, I think the committee would like to hear about it and have their opinion on other points in the article, just to make sure we have a broad perspective about what the commission feel would be appropriate on
Yes.
how we're
Yes,
portraying.
it should.
And I think in general, everybody's in agreement that we're just portraying, we'd like to have more effort put into it and see more action.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the general gist of it, but I think we probably wanna say that, so.
I would think if it went to one person, whatever comes out of that mailbox, that instead of having it go to everybody.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine doing it for now as the chair, or
I
just
could
have
do
it
it
be the
too.
chair, or have anybody, one person do it.
I'll stick my neck out.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see what she
stretched.
says, yeah. For some of them, the farmer question was actually an NRCS question. I just forwarded them to that office. They said,
That's
do
what
you
I
know,
would have done too.
do you know who does the farm programs concerning, I think it was any fencing.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a cost share for fencing program?
Yeah, I mean,
So
those are
if-
questions that you and
I said
I
they're
can answer.
I didn't say they're probably not being
And neither
reimbursed
one.
at this time, but
Yeah, there is no money, but.
there are programs. Okay. There was one more. So Tammy was coordinating with Maud
Yes.
last year
Right.
about the farm guide. And I feel like the farm guide came out almost in September when we got started again. Because I know I got emails from Maud in July saying, do you want to be in the farm guide? Did you also?
I got the same here.
So the question I have is, does anybody feel like we should be in touch with Maud? Does anybody want to be in touch with Maud? Should I ping Tammy to say, hey, Tammy,
Probably Tammy, because she
yeah,
has been really involved in that.
Tammy, any input from Maud? Or two are from Maud?
Is this a different mod than the one for
She's the economic development, social,
the
I forget
mod Hawk Friends? Is that it?
yes.
Is that her?
Maud Hawk
Yeah, yeah.
Friend Show? I don't know, or
Yeah,
Friend
yeah.
Show? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Yes.
Yeah, I attended a meeting about the wayfinding signage stuff back a while ago. And the town's hired this company to develop new signage for the
Are they
Streets.
giving it just streets, or are they giving agricultural enterprises the opportunity to participate in some fashion to get signage to their places of business?
They were asked mostly about style, and we gave
Style of street signs, or
yes.
are they gonna put some business signs up that says?
I think that was part of the discussion as well,
Okay,
because we told a few people that came to that meeting, we told them about some of the locations in town that weren't signed,
okay.
you know. But they had some sort of Zoom meeting today, and at 4:00, and I was just like connected to my telephone. Ring, ring, ring.
Yeah.
So I asked her to see if it was recorded or somewhere I could view it.
Is there something we should advocate for? Should we put, I wish we had known in advance, we could have put it on the Facebook page. If there's any, if they were willing to either do a cost share, or if there was some grant that was gonna pay for.
There's some
for
sort of grant.
business entities to have signages put up, if you wanted one on the end of your street, I don't know if there is.
Yeah,
one,
right.
but, that just said this way to Shattuck Sugar House and Austin.
Right, yeah, your place and all.
Then we should have it would have been great to sort of publicize that more widely to the direct audience, and I don't know if that's.
Well, it was only just a handful of people came initially to that meeting. So I'm sure there's more work to be done before they adopt anything. And to where they're gonna place these things too.
Maybe if I should check with Maud too about the, if she actually has an email list of the farm enterprises in town, the ones that at least have provided that.
Oh, right.
Because even then, when we have events, when we have other things, we could do the typical spamming out of,
Yep.
or a controlled spam. A spam of likely interest. So that people would be aware.
Yeah.
Because there may be some farm enterprises that just aren't aware of that.
Aren't aware. There's a lot of farm enterprises for sure that
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
called out.
They had a pretty concise list last year for that farm.
They did. It was a pretty good list, but then I don't know if they knew that they could perhaps have a sign at their
Yeah.
street put up
Yeah.
that says, this way to,
I wouldn't say that's a universal application. I don't know how many people would want them.
Well, that's why I'm saying, you'd probably want to sign up for it.
Yeah,
Because if you don't
yeah.
have, if you're seasonal or if you're,
Yeah.
something else, you may not
You
want
don't
to
have
have
a farm
traffic all the
stand
time.
or
Yeah.
something, you don't want people just
Yes,
showing up.
yes, yeah,
But if you do have a farm stand, it would be really nice to have
yes,
directions to
exactly,
it.
exactly. So,
But was it the idea of like the blue or brown blue signs, I guess, that like the state puts up for different.
Yeah. They call out different farms and
Yeah.
things. But is the type of sign, what the type, the print, color, whether there's going to be different colors for different types of signs.
Yeah.
They're gonna use the new logo, cause actually the new logo lends.
Not sure about that.
That
Yeah.
lends
for
itself,
Belchertown.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it lends itself to signage because
Right.
it's
It's got
long
empty
and
space in there.
it's got a good space
Yeah.
to put things.
You seen it, Louise? The new logo? It's a little
What's
farmy
that?
thing.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's different, but it grows on you.
My nephew said he was on that committee.
Oh, just like the.
Oh my word! He told me how many meetings that
Well, that's
involved.
why I was like, maybe I wouldn't invite everybody to that meeting. I would just let everybody know that if you'd like to participate and have a sign put
Yeah.
up. And that here's the font and colors that have been chosen by the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, narrowed down.
Okay,
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it is actually. Now, what's this over here?
That's the common. That's the pavilion on the common. That's the pavilion.
Maybe
He says it's not going to change this.
The
This
seal
It
though.
goes with
No.
it.
no, they can't. I know that some things that, UMass always changes their logo every time, or their,
Yes.
Every chancellor or.
yeah,
I wonder what that expense is. Wow.
yeah. I redid that water tank up there. And they wanted to put their logo on it first, but then it was supposed to change and not change, and then they couldn't get it in the contract, and it was like, no, we don't wanna-
Ooh-wee.
you know, don't put it up there because it's gonna be there for 50 years or 30 years.
Yep.
Anyway. Okay, I'm gonna flip-flop once. Is everybody okay? Does anybody think it's in our best interest to meet in July and August, or would everybody like to keep with the old program? I'm okay keeping with the old program because I don't believe we have anything
I-
crucial on the
Yeah,
agenda.
I don't think there's,
It gets hectic for everyone.
oh my word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Line it, take it off, for sure.
Okay, discuss the events and items for next year. Maybe I should make these an official list. So far, I've got Lampson Brook Farm Board.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a farmer meet and greet with another possible event, which we can discuss. And then we've got potentially working on the ag disposal bylaw. Would anybody like to add or subtract to that list?
I don't know where I read it, but did I see it suggested somewhere that the meet and greet and then the later event or like gardening event may be combined into one?
I questioned that. I think the chicken event was sparsely attended.
Yes.
The event previous to that was 12 or something, or 16.
Well, it was sparsely attended, I think.
Yeah, so they're really not
Okay.
hot
But the
spot.
farmers meet and greet the year, the 2 years previous, I think I've done, that was my third, well, I missed this last one, but the 2 previous that I were at was better attended. I don't know, I don't think you were. I think one there was 30.
Yeah.
That was when we had it in here and we had someone from Farm Bureau.
Mhm.
That was
Well,
well
there was
attended.
one that was also had NOFA and somebody else had it that was
I don't-
well attended.
didn't go to that one.
So I also heard from the woman who did the chicken event for Poulin, and their name's escaping me right now, even though she was very helpful to us, that their weekday evenings, when she does them for co-ops or for other boards, they're never well attended.
Yeah.
And that they have them on a Saturday or Sunday, and, oh no, opposite, sorry. Saturday, sparsely attended. If they have them on a weekday night, they're very well attended.
Huh.
Which I kind of thought families with kids and
Yeah, I
sports
would've
and
thought the
gymnastics and plays and other stuff would be hard. So, I think we should try something different. And one of the discussion items was, should we have the farmers meet and greet really be the one event that we have? Even though not very many people showed up at the chicken event, I learned a little bit more about all the media we could do,
Yeah.
but it was a little bit at the last minute. Like I had it on the electronic sign down at the school, but it was only there for 2 days. Because, it was the week before that Kate
Needs
got,
more time.
yeah, you need more time. The
Yeah.
article, the Sentinel was being funny about it, and I don't know why. Your article got published a couple times.
Yeah, quite a few
Mine did
times,
not
yeah.
get published, it got published once. And they gave Kate a hard time, I had to call the second time, and I forget why.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was because I had Queen's name in it, and they thought it should be an ad,
Yeah,
or
probably.
what the story was.
Oh. And
So-
they were at the farmer meet and greet meeting, reporter.
They were?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah, there was
I
a
was-
report.
Yeah,
It
they
was a
wrote up
report.
Yeah, it was
a
an
good
article
article in
in
the
the paper.
Sentinel about that meeting.
So I don't know if we should think about 2 subject items to have after the farm, maybe do the socializing after 2, meets, and maybe we call it also an open forum for us, which for a half an hour, we ask the farmers if they have any issues in town, if they feel
Yeah.
like we could advocate for them because they don't know what to do with
Right.
this, or.
Well, and also that might just be a great source of information for what to do for following years and things too, because, you know,
Yes.
we're just kind of throwing darts at the wall to figure out what people might want to hear from. And, but I'm sure there's people that have specific issues that they'd like to get some help with, and if it was, you know, if there was some kind of group that you got 3 or 4 people that came to you with a similar idea, it might be worth
Yeah.
looking into.
Yeah,
We
those are
also
great.
talked about maybe inviting, someone from the state, ag commission or,
They seem to
one
be
of the-
Department
out
of
Rep.
and about quite a bit.
yeah, or one of our representatives who's on the ag commission or. for
There was,
people to- It gives, you an opportunity to meet them and voice your opinion without having to go to Boston or know who you need to
Yeah.
talk to.
There was an
So
article in
it's,
the
Farm Board.
in the Gazette tonight. The
Yeah, Karen, she went
to Williams Farm in Deerfield, Yeah.
Hatfield,
Hatfield,
and she
About,
also went
you know,
out to
their
Pine Island.
dairy operation there. I kind of have been looking at other ag commissions,
Oh,
just Googling them
yeah.
and seeing what's going on. And I found that Granby didn't have any agendas published. Hadley had no agenda except in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Their last Facebook posting was in 2021, so they're not very active. Northampton had a little bit more going on. One of the things that they were doing is looking at the city-owned farmland and whether that was available for leasing or stuff like that. I know the concert, we have a lot of property in town that's owned by conservation of town, and whether it's usable, arable, or not, I don't know, but it might be worth finding out.
Yeah.
They only meet in Northampton. They meet in March, and then they meet in October and November. So that's not very much. And there was some agenda item where they were talking with Peter Westover
Yes.
about the Pioneer Valley, some Pioneer Valley farm
There's an initiative that,
initiative.
yeah, that Mass Department of Ag, why am I missing one letter in what they're doing?
MDR,
You know, I guess there was a meeting or something.
MDR, yeah.
Type.
resource.
They got a grant and they hired Pete Westover and an assistant Sarah, and I forget her name, to assist ag commissions.
Okay.
I think I had forwarded the email to everybody, but I could pull it back up again and see. And the question becomes is, do we wanna, maybe we ask them to come in September and see what they can do for us? Instead of just saying, this is what we need help on.
Yeah, right. They may have ideas.
Yeah.
There was several other towns. I looked at Ware. There was nothing there. Granby,
Yeah, and I wouldn't,
South
No.
Hadley.
Whately is relative, I have a friend on the Whately Commission and they're
Yeah.
relatively active.
It seems like, you know, we're more active than a lot of that I saw, but I didn't reach out too much further. No.
yeah, I mean, I would not be opposed to reducing the number of meetings at some point to maybe every other month or something. I feel like, you know, Lampson Brook and then advocating for farmers are our biggest objectives, and, you know, whatever we can do to assist them. But I'm also not opposed to keeping it the way it is and just sometimes having the meetings be short.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really,
I think there'd be some real interest in just playing off of what you learned from the Northampton Ag Committee
Yeah.
work is kind of working together with their or here with our Conservation Commission to understand like what the, you know, a lot of these conserved properties have a piece in their agreement that they are allowable for agricultural use, but I've yet to see one really used.
yes.
The-
Yes.
And who controls that?
And the question is who,
Northampton owns a lot of land down,
There's at
In
least
the-
6
in the
different
meadows.
places
Yes.
Yeah, in the-
around.
yeah, they
in the meadows, they own a lot of that farmland down there.
And yeah. I didn't know exactly, but I would think so. I mean, that's a big part of their city.
Yeah.
But they have obviously some kind of arrangement worked out with the farmers that are using that meadowlands to,
Is there someone that wants to speak with the town planner and or the Conservation Commission at some point? I think
Sure.
I would find out who owns the land first or who controls it.
well, I don't know about every piece in town, but I know like I bought a big section and it's a partnership between the town Conservation Commission and the Kestrel Trust. So, Kestrel, I don't know if they're the ultimate, deciding factor of how things work, but I know in the deed when that land was sold, there is a provision for agricultural use.
Kestrel's involved in a lot of
Right.
things that they work with APR and all of that to transition from someone wanting to donate or it's available for sale and then working it to a farmer.
It seems,
But they
I would almost like to
restrictions.
reach out to all the landowners that are public. Let's call them public, or
Yeah.
Kestrel's quasi-public, I don't know what you want to call them. But when it's held in some sort of conservation, but there's agricultural land, and reach out to those people and say, we would be interested in advocating for the continued use in agriculture of the appropriate portions of your land.
Yes.
Would they want to meet? Would they want to
Right.
come to us? Would they, how could we help them facilitate if people think that that would be helpful? I don't.
You see conservation land that used to be somebody's farm,
Yeah.
and through transition into a Kestrel Trust or conservation, and then it doesn't get managed after that. It just turns back into forest.
Well, that's Audubon's
Well, some of
way
them
of
want
doing
it.
things.
Some of them
Yeah.
want it to be
They
go back
They
to.
want it to go back. Nature Conservancy is the same way.
But there are others, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I don't know if some of the organizations know about there are conservation laws that you have to keep it in. If it could return to wetlands, if you have some wet meadows that you are farming, and then you leave them fallow for either 5 or 10 years, then you can't go back and re-establish them. What was that farm that burned down on the corner of Sabin and there was that old house that was abandoned on the corner of
That's
Sabin
Shea
and Cold
property.
Springs? That was the Shea
That's a
property.
Shea property, yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of that was wetlands, and it
Oh,
would
it's,
be
yeah.
to reestablish any of those fields would be impossible.
It's a beaver
now.
dam across from my house. I mean,
Oh,
it's
you
all,
live down there?
Oh, yeah, I live
Oh.
right past it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all.
And that house was abandoned, right? It was in tax title and abandoned, and then maybe the fire
the fire department
town
burned it
as an
down.
exercise. Yeah, that's I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it burned down. But anyway.
It actually was a tavern. Originally.
Yeah, it was like one of the first taverns on the old Boston
On the
Post Road.
Boston Post Road.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all gonna be houses now. What's available, they're already building.
Oh, they are. The property got sold.
Yeah, there's a house that's going up, and they
Yeah.
want to put houses on anything that
Huh,
they
because
can.
it's a long time ago now, but 30 odd years ago, I inquired about the Atkins property. Or I made an extremely low offer that was not accepted. And then I looked at that piece and I did some research and had an attorney do some research, and I think it was in a family estate.
Yes.
And they were arguing, so it was gonna take
Yes.
years to,
Well, and none of them, it was the Shea
Figured it out.
boys. None of
Oh.
them were married.
Oh, right.
You remember the old boys in their
Yeah.
Cadillac?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess there's more history.
Well,
It's-
that's kind
I
of.
wasn't in town, but I've only been
Where
there 35
Tom,
years.
Roberts is, was the other half of the Shea
That's where
property.
the
Tom
farm was.
bought,
Oh, yeah, he
Yeah.
did,
Yeah, and that was kept open. Yeah.
yeah.
and they would drive hay back and forth in an old Cadillac. The old black Cadillac, go by our house.
Oh, the
all
trunks
time.
are pretty big, so, if you take the lid off.
When our barn
get
burned,
25 bales.
we put the cows, the Quonset hut barn that's
Yes.
there now.
Yeah.
When our barn burned, they let us milk out of that barn for the winter until we built our barn.
Nice.
It's a very little history.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, so, what's everybody's consensus on the farmer meet and greet? Do we wanna start planning that in September, but all lean towards, you know, maybe
Yeah.
one meeting that has an agenda that would be a social donut hour at some point before coffee and something.
Pig roast.
You're getting a little above our budget there, probably, unless we're getting a donation on a pig and a spit. And then an open forum to,
Yeah, questions and answers.
questions and topics. of
Usually those
interest.
come up after the meeting's closed.
Yeah, and it would be nice, we can work on figuring out a way to make them more informal, so people are more willing to speak. I
Yeah.
think that's what you brought up, Tyler, that, you know, what we'll say, now, who's next on the,
Yeah.
give your name and address and say what your thing is, cause it won't, you know, I'm not sure if we call it a public meeting. And then maybe 2 speakers? And maybe not do something, I don't know, how long did, the Land for,
Land for Good.
yes, how long did they speak?
She spoke
Oh, God.
probably about 40 minutes, I
Yeah, half
think.
an hour, 40 minutes.
I think a half an hour with 10 minutes of questions for having 2 of those would probably be,
And then the other girl with slide presentation. That was a little bit about the same, I think.
Maybe a little shorter.
Long,
20,
short.
20 minutes maybe.
don't you think like
And have
half
them-
an hour to 40 minutes total is enough per subject?
And if you do 2 speakers with something that, you know, maybe a little more farmer specific and then maybe a little more educational, general education, might get some,
More people to come?
more people to come.
I saw on the agenda for Northampton, they were talking about CARB, California Air Resource Board's regulations for diesel trucks. They were talking about that.
Huh.
I guess maybe somebody must have had some interest in that, but that was when I just remembered that was on there. But I think if you had a little bit of break in between your speakers so that you could maybe get a little, people can get coffee or whatever, instead of just having to sit straight through it.
But I think if we split up, I think instead of having one person lead it, I think in September if we say, okay, Eric will deal with media, and I'm not suggesting that, but I'm just saying, Tom's gonna deal with the social part of it and questions and answer, and, you know, Lori's gonna deal with getting the 2 speakers, something like that. So,
Sure.
just so it's not
Yeah, no,
one person.
No, it's-
And if we start much earlier, I do think we have to have enough decisions made so we get 2 months of advertising. And now that we have the Facebook page, we can work on getting, because I know I put it on Facebook and I shared it with the our ag page, but I'm not sure if it worked correctly.
Yeah,
Um,
it did pop up, but I don't know.
It popped up for you guys because I
Yeah.
sent it to you directly.
Right.
You
But
know,
I saw it again, you know, it
Oh, you
did come
did?
through, but yeah, I don't know. Trying to decipher how the Facebook algorithm works is beyond me.
Yeah, and I was just disappointed because I thought this was, with the price of eggs going up, that this was, you know,
Be a
last
lot.
couple of years,
Yeah.
year of chickens. And, but I do think, her presentation would be too long for this, and I'm not sure if we could train her to get it down to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because she's really into the nutrition and the commercial, you know, she gets into very commercial regimen.
oh, I see, yeah,
Yeah.
larger scale.
Well, not only that, but the style, like, you know, she was very much into, the couple of people that were there were asking questions about feeding scraps, and she said, well, that detracts from egg production, and then you don't know what kind of nutrition they're getting. And so, if you have a per-profit business and you're worried
Yeah.
about getting 10 eggs a day instead of 9,
No.
then that's important. But if you're on a homestead
Mm.
and you're trying to get rid of your compost and your scraps from the kitchen, and
Here, clean it up.
yeah, and it makes a circle, makes more fertilizer
Yeah,
for you,
you're right.
then, you know, that's what you do.
What if you had a vet come and talk about general vet things?
About chickens?
No.
Oh, just like general animal.
Not a chicken meeting, but
Yeah.
a farmer.
You know, that's pretty interesting. We could, I mean, Jess Segru lives in Munson now, but they just built a new
Office here.
office here. I don't know if anybody uses it for farm animals.
I don't.
Dr. Hess.
Yeah, you guys use cows, a lot of cows go to Hess, and they've been with him for a long time.
Yeah.
Jess has done a couple of things with sheep, but we also know her, and
Yeah, okay.
she and
Sheep,
Morgan
good.
were also very reasonable for agricultural enterprises versus pets.
Yes.
There
Well,
was a
they're
big-
in town, it would seem like.
They were
the
reasonable
first
makes
for
sense, yeah.
everything, yeah.
Yeah, no values.
Well, yeah, they're
Yeah.
good.
And they could maybe speak about what they see, as issues.
Yeah, it's interesting sometimes just to hear from your veterinarian what, or any veterinarian, like just collaboratively what they're
That's what we
encountering
are.
throughout
That's
town
a good idea.
in this area.
Yeah. All the things they experience, so you better watch out for this.
Yeah, like we had the thing that from Doc Hess with the coyote scat being found in feed and
Oh, yeah, that was awful, yeah.
causing pregnant cows to abort prematurely. Yeah.
Ooh.
Barstow, they definitely have a problem with that.
And
Yep.
it was quite a
They lost a lot of cows.
yeah.
Huh.
And it was
Yeah.
because they used cranberry. They
Hulls.
brought in cranberry hulls, and
Oh,
then
I was wondering what the
Yep.
coyotes were
Yep,
after,
they
because
were
I
after
didn't
the
think they'd be after
cranberry.
pelletized feed.
Yeah. They were eating cranberry rolls and then somehow the scat gets in the feed. And
in the feed, so in the
Oh.
pile, it was in the pile, and then they found
Wow.
it out.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple things like that.
But that would be,
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
avenue to go.
Okay.
Sometimes a lot of government is kind of boring.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, real world. I mean, I didn't make it to.
And or even transferring land. That's an
Yeah.
interesting thing, but I don't know if this. Maybe there are 3 farmers in town that are probably thinking about that in the future, but it's not.
Well, it was just on there, so.
No, I know.
I thought,
It was a good talk, and Kathy's knowledgeable.
Yeah. I'll look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law has been talking with Doug, the building inspector, not inspector, but planner, and
Yeah.
about APR, for our
Yes.
farm, because we haven't done that
Well,
yet.
you don't have APR in
No, so, talking about how there's a lot of sources out there that could fund that. And, so takes a long time.
It
Yeah.
does,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you have that? No. But he might be able to speak about that program. I don't know.
Well, what if
Yeah.
we got a couple months,
Yes.
we'll do some research and come back with some possible.
Yeah, I think the only thing is we should be very ready to go in September to talk about that, just so we have enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take,
If we have some topics, we
say,
Yeah, if we have some
Uh,
topics we can investigate,
Yeah.
and then we can set an agenda and reach out to folks about going ahead and doing that. Yeah, so the state doesn't fund that, huh? They have to get background people to fund
I
it?
think it used to be
Or-
funded by the state.
It's actually funded through NRCS. Some of them are.
Some of the
some
APR
APR
is
funded.
funneled through there or
Yeah,
funded.
because we have, FSA has to do they have to follow 1026 rules in order.
I was just shocked to find out, didn't the trustees just get they got a huge APR on one of their piece of property, and I thought, wouldn't the owner, before the transfer, put it into APR and then transfer it to the trustees? I wouldn't think the trustees would be able to
You wouldn't
file
think.
for it because they wouldn't be actively farming.
Yeah, you wouldn't think, but.
And I know they have 1 or 2
Who knows?
active farms in the east and down in the Cape or something,
Mhm.
but I don't know. Maybe they're buying an active farm and
Yeah,
trying to
'cause
keep it active.
I know right at the end of the fiscal year, MDR
Yeah.
and APH, they're pushing to get all of the 1026s done and everything signed in order to make it eligible for them to get the government money, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna recap briefly unless anybody has any additional topics that they wanna talk about, but Tom is gonna talk to Maud and send a quick email to Kate Nato. I'm gonna follow up with Kate about the email addresses and the article about Lampson Brook. I'm gonna look at Lampson Brook, but if anybody else does, they're gonna get in touch with me about whether or not we're gonna have a short meeting prior to next September. But otherwise, we will plan on re-adjourning, the first Wednesday in September. I don't know if anybody wants to know what date that is, but we can all,
What happened? Last meeting.
The third.
Yes.
so September 3rd. Where's my calendar? September 3rd meeting, I think, I feel like there's consensus, I don't think we need to vote, so we might wanna focus on one event,
Yeah.
next year. But I think we should also work a little bit more on making sure stuff gets on the webpage and on the Facebook page. Just even articles more recently, I forget which one Tom brought up, but Tom brought up an article that I thought would be important there.
Yeah,
I'm also
and-
gonna reach out to Pete Westover about whether or not they could come to our
Pioneer Valley, yeah.
could come to our September meeting, yeah. Any other items before I hear a motion?
I'm all set. I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Well, enjoy your summer, nice to see everybody, great to see you, Louise,
Yes.
thanks for making
Yeah.
it out.